The forecast is again so-so, blue skies. I doubt I'll see a cumulus cloud. 5 to 10 mile per hour headwind. So tough conditions, but at least safe. No chance of storms, no high winds. Just a safe, tough, blue, hot day here in East Texas.
Welcome to Soar America. The Soar America team includes Eric, our pilot, who is going to attempt to fly his glider from coast to coast in a series of connected flights and only be the second person to achieve this goal. Join us as we soar, camp, and drive across America. So we're at the Mount Pleasant Regional Airport today, and Eric will be self-launching shortly. I'm not sure what the strategy is going to be today for chasing him. We got ahead of him pretty quickly yesterday and ended up in a bunch of small towns with nowhere really to sit and wait. And we appreciate the Baptist church on the side of the road that let us park there for about half an hour waiting to see where he was going next. So today he is hoping to head directly eastward, but he's watching a stationary front that may move. He's watching soaring conditions and also looking a few days into the future to see where conditions are going to be better. So at the moment, he's still planning on heading directly eastward, which will take him across a couple more airports in Texas, hopefully into Louisiana and or Arkansas. So that's the plan. He may, if he can, try to go a little more northward and more into Arkansas. So he's thinking there's another possible path that would put him around Hope, Arkansas at the end. So we will see. Probably just going to stay put until he says go and travel from there. So looking forward to another day of chasing Eric.
It's been quite difficult so far. I took a climb right off takeoff to a little more than 3,000 feet off the ground. I thought this is going to go okay, and then I just found little broken bits all the way down to about 1,000 feet off the ground where I ran the motor for a while, and the motor led me to this one, and oh my goodness, I'm having to hold a tight bank and still can barely keep it beeping all the way around. Turbulent, narrow, very tough. Unless things improve, I will be landing where I took off. Oh, this is pretty frustrating. These thermals are so narrow. This is the highest I've been yet. I just broke 4,000 feet, which is about 3,600 above the ground. Still probably not quite enough to get me to the first airport away from here. And you can see this tight, thick haze layer, which unless that lifts, there's not much chance of me getting higher than this. So I'll go upwind yet again. I tend to be losing altitude more quickly between thermals than I gain it while in thermals, which means I'm spending more than half of the flight circling. It's hot, there's no shade from cumulus clouds. This is just frustrating, tough flying. But I'm gonna keep trying. You never know. Conditions can inexplicably get better. So if that happens, I want to be in the air, not on the ground. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Well, this was nice, relatively speaking, for today. Just found a light, smooth, bigger than normal thermal up in the haze layer. Took me 400 or 500 feet higher than any other thermal has today so far. And I'm seeing an occasional tiny little cumulus that's like near the top of the haze layer. So that would probably mark the best of thermals. But I keep trying to reach it and then getting too far for comfort from Mount Pleasant behind me without having the next airport ahead of me made comfortably and having to turn around. But this 400 or 500 feet may help me reach this next one. We'll see. There's hope. Well, I finally decided to cut the cord to Mount Pleasant and commit to Eagle Landing, which is a private grass strip, but it's really my only stepping stone to get to the first public airport, Cypress River. So after 2 hours and 15 minutes in the air, I finally told Julie and Diane I've left. So they've probably just been sitting on the ground there for over 2 hours. And it looks like in this direction to the southeast, I see more of these small cumulus, so maybe conditions are a little better down here, but I'm not going to have a lot of time to search. We'll see what happens. It is almost 4 o'clock. Well, I do believe conditions are better east and south, which I've moved gradually. They're still not great though, so there's to the north. Very, very blue. Look to the south and east. You see a few little cumulus, but it seems like I can never quite reach the cumulus. It's like the line where the cumulus start is retreating away from me faster than I can get to it. But at least I'm able to keep up with it enough that conditions are better than they were back, 30 miles west of here where I took off. It's a shame it's been 3 hours and I've probably only made 30 miles. Wow. Tough day. Still fun though. We'll see what I can do with it. It is a little after 4:30. I have clawed my way up. I've been in this thermal for 10 minutes or more, maybe closer to 15, I don't know. Near Cypress River, Texas. And if I could just get a few hundred more feet, I'll have Louisiana made. Be out of Texas. But it's getting late-ish. It's almost 5 o'clock. The good conditions, as judged by cumulus, seem to be retreating from me faster than I can keep up. I've averaged just a little over a knot in this thermal. Whole flight, 1.4. Thank goodness the headwind is very light, only 4 or 5 knots. But boy, I would like to, it'd be a psychological boost at least to say I'm out of Texas. So we'll see. I'm a few hundred feet away from going on glide for Louisiana. Well, that thermal took me almost to 4,500 feet. That's as high as I've been today. I think 1 or 2 other thermals have matched that, but very few. And that gets me to Vivian, Louisiana, which is 17 miles away, 1,300 feet above the ground, according to my more conservative flight computer. I'm pretty comfortable with that, except that there's nowhere to land between here and there. It looks like a precious few fields even, just a lot of forest but I have Cypress River, Texas off my right wing made with 3,000 feet still, so I can go probably halfway at least to Vivian and still turn around and make it back to Cypress if I lose too much altitude during that halfway. But see, I'm in lift right now, so now I have Vivian with 1,400 feet. So we'll see. If I find more lift than sink, I will get there. If I don't find any lift, I might not get there. So we'll see. Well, I found a little more lift, so now I easily have the first airport in Louisiana made, Vivian, right off the nose there. It's 9 miles away, and I have it made at about 2,000 feet above ground arrival altitude. The next airport is 35 miles beyond that, and I would need close to 4,000 feet more altitude to get there, which means several more thermals. But see the clouds there? I'm hopeful that if I get this climb here, I can get over to where the clouds are, it'll get easier, and maybe I can make it that extra 35 miles. That would be sweet. It's about 20 after 5, and I have some renewed hope. Talk to you in a bit. Well, I've reached that good-looking cloud, good-looking by today's standards, puny by a lot of days' standards, and it gave me a decent thermal. I've averaged 2.2 knots in it so far, which is 50% better than my average so far today. So it's looking like maybe where the cumulus are is going to be better, and maybe I will be able to make the extra 35 miles to Spring Hill, Louisiana, roughly that direction, east, of course. I lack about, I don't know, 2,500, 3,000 feet, having it comfortably made, and I'm not quite yet to the Vivian Airport. I mean, it's just, it's right there, right off the wingtip. So I'm almost to it. But it'll be a long way before I'm out of reach of it, so hopefully I can find the extra 2,500 feet or so before I'm out of reach of Vivian. Cool. Well, not only do these clouds mark the thermals for me, the thermals under these clouds are better. The last two thermals I've taken to about 5,000 feet, which is 500 feet higher than any thermal before them. So good stuff. It looks though like in my way is a river. Here's the river valley, and look at the absence of clouds over that valley. Not unusual. The river's wet, the valley's low, it stays wet. It's the last thing to dry out after rain. So wet ground is slow to heat up, thus doesn't produce good thermals typically. So, but there is a private grass strip in the middle of that valley near the river that I could land at if I decide to go for it. The trouble is launching from there might not be great. Grass strip could be bumpy, too bumpy, could be wet. Landing there might not even be a good idea if it's wet and the ground's soft. But even if all that goes well, it's probably a poor thermal producing area always, so it's not a good place to launch. I might choose to backtrack here to Vivian, launch here, try to get high on this side of the valley and cross it another day. But I might go for it anyway, and if I land out, worst case, I just back up to Vivian the next flight. So we'll see what happens. I still need 1,500 to 2,000 feet to have it made, and there's no way I'm going to get that right here before I have to make a decision. And we'll see. Well, I'm going to go for it for now. This is the Red River, by the way. Still have Vivian, which is behind me, only about 6 miles behind me. I still have it made with 3,400 feet, and I'm taking about a 45-degree detour because I see a few little clouds there. And also it's toward my bailout option, grass strip. And taking the detour doesn't erode my glide back to Vivian as quickly. So we'll see if these little specks of cloud have anything to offer. If so, it might be just enough to get me across the river. Looks like there's some decent clouds not too far across the river. So I might be able to make it all the way to those anyway. I may have to cut the cord to Vivian, but still have the private strip made, the grass strip made. We'll see. 5 minutes till 6 o'clock. That's the grass strip. That's my bailout, and I think I see a glider tied down on the ground, so maybe they'd be happy to see a glider land there. You never know about a private strip. You know, it is someone else's property. They've not opened it up to the public, so I'm really reluctant to land there. I'll use it as a safety bailout, but I try my best not to land at private strips. That must be an interstate. Maybe. I don't know. This is neat visually out over this wide, flat valley, the Red River Valley. Thermaling under a puny looking cumulus cloud at 6 o'clock. Neat. And my less conservative flight computer says I have Spring Hill made with 500 feet. Well, that's nowhere near enough for me. I like that computer to say 1,500 to 2,000. So I'm 1,000 to 1,500 feet away from saying I'm jumping the river and landing on the east side of it. And I might eke another 500 feet out of this thermal. If not, though, I can reach a few more clouds just east of here. Fun stuff. Man, this thermal is so much easier than those tight little, virtually impossible to work things for the first 2.5 hours of this flight. Wow, that was hard work. Sometimes you just have to fight through the hard part to get to the good stuff. Too bad there's not a whole lot of daylight left. Well, I'm several miles east of the Red River now, 21 miles short of Spring Hill. It's almost straight ahead. I haven't had to cut the cord to the grass strip on the west side of the river yet. I still have it made with 3,500 feet. So I'm hoping I can reach these clouds here and find the 400 or 500 feet I need to make me comfortable committing to pressing on. I think it's likely I'll find that much altitude on the way there, so I think I'm likely going to make it to Spring Hill. Cool. It is 6:25. Well, I decided to go for it, so I am on my way into Spring Hill. The clouds seem to all be slowly dying. I don't know if I'll find another decent thermal. I'm 11 miles out. Very likely I'll land there, if not right away, after playing around in another thermal or two and not being able to get high enough to break away to the next airport. It's about 6:35. There's the airport where I will be landing shortly. Spring Hill, Louisiana. And one problem with tree-covered areas like this, when you're coming in on kind of a shallow glide like I was, it's hard to find that airport. I couldn't see it until I was within 2 miles of it. Just had to trust the computer. It's a little bit uncomfortable. But there it is. I should be landing soon. Spring Hill traffic, glider Quebec Victor, turning final for 36 Spring Hill.
We were so excited to get out of Texas when we saw the Louisiana sign. Diane actually pulled over on the side of the road to take this picture. We were sad to miss the traditional family 4th of July get-together, but we'll make it up later when we get back. We did get to see some fireworks nearby.